Good morning, Nigel. Yes, my view is I think people should be allowed to protest. Obviously, this protest has been sparked off by the death of George Floyd. He was an unarmed man in handcuffs, gasping for air, saying that he could not breathe. He's now died, and people are very, very angry. They're very, very upset. They've associated it with racism. A lot of people can resonate and, feel for him, and a lot of people have experienced racism themselves. So I don't see why they shouldn't be allowed to protest. And the fact that they protest despite the risks of COVID-19 should just tell you how passionately people feel about this issue and how passionately people feel about the issue of racism.
Oh, but Naomi, that's fine. If they want to risk their own lives or risk getting ill themselves, that's absolutely fine. It's who they take this back to in their families and their communities that really is the problem. And we saw with the Cheltenham Racing Festival, we saw with the Liverpool Atletico Madrid event, big crowds lead to a lot more dead people. Isn't that the problem?
I mean, you're saying that's the problem. That could be, obviously that is an associated issue, Nigel, but I think the bigger problem...
Well, let's start with that one, shall we?
No, let's talk about the problem of racism, because that's what the protest is about, and that's what people are going at.
Is it really about that? Are the protests about that? Or I would say, if it's about racism, why are they attacking Boris Johnson like this?
Okay, so if you don't think it's about racism, what do you think it's about?
No, I'm asking you. You're telling me it is. So what has Boris Johnson got to do with this? Why are they screaming abuse at Boris Johnson, some of the crowd?
Well, maybe. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for everybody, but maybe they're screaming abuse at Boris Johnson because maybe they want reform, maybe they want changes in the law, maybe they want, more consequences for those people that are racist. Maybe there needs to be change. Maybe we need to look at this, review it, and see what can be done. Maybe not. Maybe enough hasn't been done about this issue. Maybe that's why people are...
All four police officers... Mark in Sunderland puts a text to me, he's dead right. All four police officers involved directly, indirectly in the George Floyd case are all under arrest. These were the original demands of the protests.
Yes, they're under arrest, but they're still alive. George Floyd is...
They're still alive?
Yeah, they're still alive. He's dead now. Okay? And a lot of people are upset that he's dead, and, they're going out to protest.
And what about those that have died? What about those that have died in the riots in America?
What do you mean, what about those who have died in the...
Well, for example, there was a black police officer in St. Louis. Retired black police officer defending a friend's store was shot dead by looters. I mean, the point is that these protests...
You can look at all these little side...
No, it's not little side. People are dying in the riots in America.
People are dying in the riots, but why are there riots, Nigel? There are riots because there is racism. That's why there are riots. People are upset. People are affected by it. You're not affected by it. You need to walk a day in the shoes of a black man. Then you would feel how they would feel.
All right, Naomi. Well,
people are upset about. There are
plenty of black people who are not joining these protests and don't approve of them. Naomi, I'm going to move on because